Good evening. Uh-oh. Ah, my mic. What's happened to my mic? Oh dear. Can anyone hear me? I'm hoping you can hear me. Can I get a sound check? Can anyone hear me? I can't hear myself for some reason. Can you hear me? Oh dear. What is happening? Hello? 1, 2. Sounds fine. Oh, good. Well, that's got off to a cracking start, hasn't it? Can't hear myself, but if you say I can, if you can hear me, then fine. And welcome everyone. Oh my God, my green screen's all buggered up as well. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, let's sort ourselves out. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, let's quickly go into the chroma key and work out what the hell happened to my... Oh, I know what happened. I changed the color of my shirt. So that's what happened. So let me... there we go. Much cleaner. Much better. Good evening. Ooh. Good evening, everyone. Where'd that hand come from? Right. And welcome to Ben's Camera Show. And for those of you who haven't been here before, this is my show where I talk about cameras. A little emphasis on Super 8, though I do go off on tangents, that's for sure. In fact, next week, well, I'll tell you about next week at the end of this show. You have to stick around, but we're going to go off the track next week. But let's talk about this week. This week, oh my God, how are you all feeling? How's everyone doing? Oh, I had the most terrible night's sleep 2 nights ago. Woke up at something at 5 in the morning, struggled through the day. And then last night, I thought I'm going to go to bed early because today I had hard physical labor lined up. So I thought, oh no, I'll go to bed early. I'll have a nice sleep. And then what would happen at 3 o'clock in the morning? No, 20 past 3. I know exactly it was 20 past 3 because it was when I switched on my camera, my phone, out the window. Because this was what greeted me. Oh my God. Oh. Sorry about your ears, everyone. But yeah, the police had a high-speed chase which ended on a road next to mine. And they apprehended the miscreants. I think they put spike strips out and made all of this blooming racket at 20 to 4 in the morning. Whole street woke up. Uh-oh, yeah. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. I mean, goodness me. I was just amazed that so many coppers were up and awake at 20 to 4 in the morning. There's my phone out the window. So, yeah, I did not... I got back to sleep, but then I had to wake up and I had to do hard physical labor for the rest of the day until I got home. And started frantically setting this show up. And here I am. And here you are. And welcome, everyone. Who's in the house? Who's in the house? Oh, some of the usual people and some new people as well. So how are you all doing? I bet you didn't have as disturbed a night as I did. So you're going to have to just sort of bear with me if I'm slightly woozy right now. Because, as you can see, this is what you have to put up with when you live in London. Anyway, so let's get that off now. Right, so tonight on the camera show, this side towards screen says, looks more like they had a sale at the donut shop. Oh, come on, this is England. They have sale. They go to Greg's, not the donut shop. Joe Schmo says, cheers from Aurora, CO. That's Colorado, I guess. Americans in the house. And hello, Julie Delavante. I haven't seen your name before. Welcome to the Ben's Camera Show. Old radios, this side towards screen. You're all, everyone's drifting in now. This is a very inclusive show, so everyone is welcome. As long as you give a crap about cameras. If you don't give a crap about cameras, then why are you here? Why are any of us here? I'll tell you what we're here to do tonight. It's very exciting. Tonight, we are going to talk about an absolute top-tier Super 8 camera. It's the latest in my series of the best of the best. Last week, we had the Nikon R10. And this week, we have... whoa, it's everywhere. The Minolta D12. That's like 2 more than 10. And we're going to talk about this tonight. I'm going to go into my little box before anything weird happens. Very good. So, the Minolta D12. Now, the Minolta brands generally don't come up a lot. Let's put it a bit closer to the camera here. Minolta brand doesn't come up all that much in conversations about what are the best Super 8 cameras. The limelight is all kind of hogged by Canon and Bollier and Nizo and what else? I'm sure. Well, the Nikon, aforementioned Nikon, but Minolta, of course, are a top-notch camera company, an SLR camera company, and they had a very long tradition of making Super 8 cameras. They made quite a few Super 8 cameras, and being a camera company and being Japanese, they went to the pushing the absolute envelope of quality when it came to this D12. Now, Old Radio says, let's see what it does differently than the one I got. Ooh, which one did you get? Did you get the D10? I will be talking a little bit about the D10. There's one particular difference between this and the D10, and unfortunately the D10 doesn't come off quite as well. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The D12, manufactured in, I have notes, marketed in 1973, production between 1973 and 1977. So yeah, 4 years they made this thing. And it is a magnificent piece of machinery. And let's go through it bit by bit. I'm going to go deep here. Olbrio says, yeah, he's got the D10. Julie Delavant says, I have the D10 as well. Most of what I say relates to the D10 as well as the D12. So I'm glad you got the D10s. I'm sure they're working perfectly. But if you start getting problems with them, you know, you're on your own. Okay, the D12. We always start with how do we power it up? Where do the batteries go? Well, I'll give you one guess where the batteries go. Yep, as usual, into the handle. So let's unscrew this handle and see how many and what kind of batteries this thing takes. Usually it's AA. Uh-oh, what the hell? There's nothing in there. It's empty. Just some weird metal contacts. That's because the D12 takes a bespoke Minolta battery pack, and this is what it is. And you might see this. You might be slightly. You might recognize this kind of system here with the ring and the sort of the bullet, the target shape kind of thing. That's right. The Bollier 4008 has a similar kind of deal, although I think the Bollier has the outer casing and the outer ring and the inner bit here. Basically, I believe it's a dielectric system where it can provide 2 different types of voltages. Usually it's one for the light meter and one for the camera motor, the running. So, oh no, how are we going to get hold of one of these? This looks like some sort of you've got to get a special charger for it, all that kind of thing. No, you don't. You just unscrew the end here. I would like to thank Sarah Dutton for lending me this camera for tonight. I'll be seeing some of Sarah's work later on. But here we go. Look, it takes 5, strange number, but it takes 5 AA batteries. Simple as. Just stick them in there in the right polarity. There's only one possible way this thing goes on, which is good. And we'll screw it back together. If you have one of these Minoltas and you lose the battery pack, then that sucks. But they actually did make quite a few accessories with their own battery packs, which also work in this one. So the battery packs are out there, and some of them are being sold on eBay. I don't know if anyone's actually making new ones. That would be interesting. Right, so you might notice, well, hang on a minute. While we're looking underneath the camera, how the hell are you going to fix this onto a tripod? There's no screw here. Some of them have screws here. Some of them have screws on the back of the body. Some have screws here. There's no screw. Check this out. This little black knob here when pulled, get rid of that, we don't need that. When you pull that knob out like that and take this, there we go, it goes to the side, and here is our tripod screw. So the thing can get mounted on a tripod. It's on a tripod with a smallish plate. I've tried it with my Velbon, it worked fine. So it can be mounted on a tripod, which is great. Let's put that back up there. Nice. Now, what do we do first? We have to switch it on, and here's the on-off switch. There you see there. So let's put that onto, oh, it was on, okay. And of course, here's the trigger. Let's see if that, let's have a little listen to that motor. Louder, I hear you say. Nice. A good, confident sounding motor there. No nonsense. Not going to mess us about that one. Good. So now, where do we start? Where do we go next? Well, let's go to the film compartment, why don't we? Which is, of course, on the other side. And there's some business going on here as well. So the film compartment just opens up like this. This side towards the screen says, smooth as butter. Ah, old Riz, that's how I got my battery pack to power on. Mine got an accessory. Well, yeah, good for you. There's at least there's hope out there. So what have we got inside here? How many different ISOs does this thing meter? Well, I'm happy to say, like the Nikon R10, it's got this sliding lever for the. I'm getting my finger in the way of it. Let's get a toothpick. No, not a toothpick. It's disgusting. Let's get a oh, aren't these live streams great? All this stuff will be edited out of the final edit. But okay, here we go. So it's got this little sliding lever here. See? And this is like the Canon 814 auto zoom. Basically, well, I've been through this last week with the Nikon, but oops, the little notch here, which tells the camera what ISO the film you put in is. When you put the camera in, that very nicely fits in like that. And whoop, did you see that? Let's get that closer. When I put the camera in and I push it in, watch this lever here. Watch that lever. Whoop, see, it moved down. It moved down until it was arrested by the bottom of the notch there. And that sets the camera. In fact, this camera can meter automatically 16, 25, 40, 64, 100, 160, 150, 400, and 640 ASA. I don't know why they didn't put 500 in there. If it could do 400 and 640, no way it can't do 500. Basically, the whole gamut or gamut of film speeds. So that's great. Don't have to worry about any of that. What else have we got here? Well, not much. We've got the filter cancellation knob there. So if you put tungsten film in, it'll push that in and automatically disengage your daylight filter, which is fantastic. Not much else to look at in here, except I guess we could see this if you see it really. Notice, this will come up later, but notice the shape of the gate. See, it's kind of curved there at the edge. Yeah, we'll see that later when we look at the footage. It's got a nice overscan, this thing. Overscan, that's you know, picture beyond the normal Super 8 frame. Now, here we have, well, here's the daylight filter switch. That's just a nice on-off. So I guess that's with the filter in. And when you reveal, it's funny, it doesn't have a sun. It's just got a light bulb. So when they do that, then the filter is out. Here is our motorized zoom here. I'll be going into the zoom in a minute. I'll be talking about the zoom in a minute. It's a heavy bugger, this one. I've got to tell you, I think it's even heavier than the Nikon. Is the weight here. Yeah, it weighs 2.1 kilos. No, 2.01 kilos. That's I don't know if that's with the batteries or not. But take it from me, this thing is hefty. Not bad ergonomics, though. Now, what have we got down here? This is our film running speed selector. It can do single frame, that's SF, 8 frames a second. I like that, 8 frames a second. You can undercrank this thing for extra long exposures. 12 frames a second, I guess that's useful somehow. 18 frames a second, 24, and these two in red, they say 32 and 54. And you're probably wondering, why are they in red? The reason why is because it can't run on those speeds with the batteries in the handle. You actually have to plug in an auxiliary power source in order to get it to run that fast, which is interesting. I don't know of any cameras that can run at high speed that need extra power to do so. But, you know, it's just one of those quirks. I guess there must be some good reason for it. Now, by the way, to adjust this, there's a ring around here which just goes round and round and round. If you pull it up, that's how you can adjust it. So you can't do it by accident. In fact, let's put it on SF, single frame, because I'm going to show you something rather cool here. Let's listen to what single frame sounds like. Not bad. Oh, did I even? No, I didn't switch the mic up. Here we go. Here we go. See? It's not too bad. And then we've got the, frames a second there. You're probably wondering, well, I'll let you know in a minute what your actual exposure time will be. All the radio says, I've already read that one. So we put it on single frame. What can we do? We can take single pictures, of course. However, as with the Nikon, it's got this thing on the back. What is that? What is that? Well, that is a sync port, which you can attach either a tape recorder to, or, of course, a flash. Yes, this thing will take a flash, which means single frame plus flash equals fun. In fact, let's switch that flash on and get that lovely flash warm-up sound. Everyone listen. Nice. And then the red light comes on. Are we ready for a flash? Yes, we are. Okay, I'll switch that off before it gives everyone tinnitus. So the flash plugs into this thing here. There we go. And the flash, well, it would be nice to mount it on top here, but this sliding shoe is a bit odd. It's not your classic sliding shoe. I don't know what it is, but the normal shoe flash doesn't actually go on it. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, I'll, yeah. What have we got before? Well, okay. I'm going to take a detour now, and look at this. This is an interesting little accessory you can get with this thing. It is a forehead rest. Yes, like the Lycina, it's got a forehead rest. So you just slide that onto there, like that. Oops. Adjust it, and now if your eye is against there, your forehead can go against there. And I'm going to show you. Old Radio says the shoe is proprietary for Minolta accessories. I don't like proprietary stuff. I like compatibility myself, but it's one of those things. Okay, so you can hear it, can't you? Yeah. Hear that lovely whiny sound. So we're on single frame, we've got the flash, and of course here we go. Yes, you can there must be some kind of adapter, right? There should be an adapter to adapt this shoe. Oh, I forgot the forehead rest. There we go. Oh, I'm the coolest kid on the block now. I've got my forehead against this thing. I've got my eye into it. I'm flashing like a maniac. Actually, that's not a good phrase. Let's flash it myself and see what happens. Is that better? I mean, with the streaming, these flashes probably aren't coming out very well. Let's try. I'll try one right on myself. Why not? Okay, I exaggerated that reaction slightly, but it's not a million miles away. This is a powerful bugger, this flash. So you can take flash photos for a start. I mean, that's just child's play to this thing. Let's get me back in my little box. Boing. And let's get the camera back on center stage. So yeah, forehead rest, very nice. I'm going to take it off now because it's just unwieldy with that thing. Right. Single frame. Let's get it off single frame. Back to 18 frames a second. What should we start with? Well, what's in my screening room? Okay, we're going to start with the focus and zoom. It has a really nice lens on it. It's got a 1 to 1.8 f6.5 to 78 millimeter zoom. Is that a 12 times? Is that why it's a D12? Does it have a 12 times zoom? 6.5 to 78. That's pretty long zoom stretch. That is. I mean, look, who knows better how to make a good lens than Minolta? You know, other than Nikon. I mean, that is a nice lens. So let's have a look, see what it looks like when you put this up to your eye. Oh, before I do, just this button here, push that. That's your battery check. And you know, I showed you the motorized zoom earlier, like that. It's got this button here for zoom speed. So you just turn that, and you can either zoom slowly. There we go. Or turn that all the way up and crash zoom. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Wow, what a zoom. And then there's the usual, the focus pattern, the thing that, there's the slow zoom, how slow the slow zoom is. And the focus aid in the center is there to help you. And you, of course, as you focus, things, vertical lines look less jagged. Go on, focus it up. No, wrong way. That bit more, bit less. Higher, lower, higher, higher, lower. There we go. Right there, right there. Walk away. There we go. And now it's in focus. It doesn't look that much in focus, but there you go. Right, what's next? Oh, macro. Should we talk about macro? What's up? Oh, it's my phone. Should we talk about macro? That's annoying me. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to just... there we go. That's better. Let's talk about macro with this thing. The macro is activated with this switch here. When you, it's not with the Nikon, you kind of pulled a cuff on the focus barrel that went in and out of macro. Other cameras have got other things, but this one has a macro lens, which I think it's a lens which just comes in and out of the picture. So N there is normal, and put it down there. That's macro. Okay, what does that look like? Let's see. Here we go, macro. So when you put the macro in and out, that's non-macro, and then there we go. It looks all blurry. That's because nothing's close up to it. Let's get something up and off, in and out the macro there. So let's put it onto macro. There we go. It's like being at the optician now, isn't it? And there's a rule of what better way to show something close up than something with actual millimeters on it. So, and it's got a nice macro. In fact, you can macro when you're zoomed in as well as when you're zoomed out, which gives you different depths of field in the macro. So here's a macro. I think I was zoomed all the way in. You'll see in different f-stops there. We were trying out a few different f-stops, me and Sarah. And then I think zoomed out, but the camera closer in. That's that. There we go. Depth of field getting better there. And there's another one. Lovely, lovely image on this. You can. This is our first view of how this, how good this lens is. Those, yeah, those macro shots are just sweet. Let's go back to some. Let's get to some fun stuff now. What should we do next? Let's look at this button here. Hey, Lyndon B's in the house. Hello, Lyndon. And Ramjet as well. Hi, Ramjet. Anyway, so here we go. So what's this button here? Well, like the Nikon, let's try and get it so it's front and center there. Okay. Jesus. Right. Like the Nikon, this thing has an adjustable shutter angle, meaning that you only a few cameras have this, and this has a not only adjustable shutter, but as most of these things with adjustable shutters have, it has fades and dissolve function as well. Now N is on normal function, and if you push this, slide this down, this little catch here, then you can turn this to what easy to do in front of the camera. So if I push that down, I can switch that to, turn that around to FO, that's fade out, also fades in. M, that's manual. So when you're on M, you can adjust the shutter yourself by pulling this knob out, this big knob out, and you see it says C and O. That means close, open. So you can open and close that. I'll show you in a minute what that looks like through the viewfinder. And here, LD, that's lap dissolve. Once again, I would not recommend doing lap dissolves unless you're very confident in your camera and your film, that it's not, the cartridge isn't going to jam or anything. Maybe I'm being overly cautious, but like I said, this is not my camera. This belongs to Sarah, and I don't want to risk messing it around. So let's see through the eyepiece what happens when we mess around with our shutter. Incidentally, some useful data here. In fully open, the shutter is, where's my notes here? Fully open, this shutter angle is 165, so this gives you 1/40th. Fully open, 1/40th of a second. Write that down. Let's have a look. So, look on the right-hand side, and there you go. See that red thing on the right? That's your shutter indicator saying open, close. When it's all the way at the top, it's open. When it's at the notches, it'll show you half, quarter, and close. Whoa! And this is a that was an automatic fade out. Let's do that. Let's have a look at that again. Slightly less loud. See, there we go. Nice. Oop, that's it. Fading out there, and fading in. You just start filming again. Put it back onto an N and start filming again. In fact, I'm gonna get. I don't know why it's not here, but I'm gonna put my. I'm gonna put my top camera in the screening room as well. Right, there we go. So let's get all this stuff off the way. That's better. All right, now I can actually use my hands. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So there's your shutter going up and down. That's automatic, and then you can do it manually by turning this knob here. Okay, now shall we see what a lap dissolve looks like on this thing? Yes, we shall. Now this lap dissolve, here we go, it's courtesy of classiccameras.com.au, an Australian camera company who sell classic cameras, who sell old Super 8s and all sorts of others cameras, and they are based out of Brookvale, New South Wales, which I think is just north of Sydney, and they allowed me to use this this footage here of a lap dissolve on a D12, and look at this. Here we go. Wow, what a beautiful lap dissolve. Just so smooth. Now we're going to see it in slow motion. This is at 1/3 speed. Look at that. That's really smooth. That is a nice. Now let's just see it backwards for good measure. Wow. I would really like to make an entire film like that. Let's have a. I just want to show you because we're plugging the lovely Australian camera company. Let's see. What was it? Classiccameras.com.au. Yeah, thanks Dave for letting me use that lap dissolve. Let's see what this is their website. Now I wanted to show you because I like this website because it's one of those camera shops that doesn't just have their stock in it, but there's loads of information about cameras generally, choosing a camera, you know, Super 8 cameras. I mean, I would like, it would be nice if there was a camera shop like this in the UK. I guess there is, but I've not seen one with such an extensive and really useful catalogue here. And they've even segmented their Super 8 shop into simple ones and and really good ones, advanced ones. So let's see what they've got in the advanced. Oh, look at that. They got an R8, a Nikon R8, £311. I think these have been automatically automatically converted from Australian dollars. Not too bad prices really, considering they're good cameras. I mean, there's an auto zoom 1014, 415. I mean, yeah, if it works, brilliant. So anyway, thanks, classiccameras.com.au. You guys are all right. Right, what's next? Oh, we did that. Dissolves on film smooth as velvet, says RemJ. Yeah, that was super smooth. Shall we have a look at... Oh, we don't... Okay. We don't need that anymore. Let's have a look at the exposure settings on this thing. Where do we change our f-stops? Well, it's on this side. And it has auto and manual. Unfortunately, auto on this camera doesn't work. It's one of those things. And this is a problem that these Minoltas have, in that the f-stop tends to, the aperture tends to just freeze after a while. And that happened to the Nikon, unfortunately. And the problem is probably lubrication. Maybe there's a part in there that gets stuck. Luckily, with this camera, when the auto doesn't work, at least you can go manual on this. So you put it on M and you turn the outer knob here to change your f-stop, and I'll show you on video in a sec what that looks like. This is where the D12 differs from the D10. Anyone who's got a D10, you better hope that your auto exposure carries on working, because the D10 has a fault where, well, not a fault, it's like a design fault, which they fixed for the D12, where if your auto exposure packs up, you cannot change the manual either. The whole thing is toast. So I wish long life to all of you who've got a D10. I wish long life to your auto exposure. That I hope it keeps working, because unlike this one, the D10, it's hanging by, the auto working. So you turn that to change the f-stops, and this, of course, is the adjustment of the automatic. You have to push this bit in first, and you can adjust this. You can do the usual plus or minus a couple of f-stops. Supposing your camera is underexposing a bit, you just tell it to do it auto without. Because the auto is not working on this, then that's useless. But at least we got manual. Old Rio says, my auto is working fine for now. Hopefully it'll carry on for many years. Let's see what it looks like in the eyepiece when you mess around with your f-stops. So, let's get this out of the way. Right, so here is the f-stop. There is the adjustment just below the screen there. 32, 16, 8, 4, 2.8, and there's another stop under that. In fact, let's just see. Oh, okay. I'm just going to stop that for a second. Just to, what does it go? Yeah, it goes down to f1.8. So, yeah, so it will go down all the way to f1.8. And here on this video here, we've tried a couple of different f-stops. I've gone from wide open to like 2.8, 4, 16, etc., etc. Let's have a look. So that's at wide open, bit fuzzy. Let's close it a bit. F4 looks about right. I can't remember which film this was. Maybe it was 200T. And here's, I think this is without the daylight filter. A bit more blue. And I did have notes for how to for what all the settings I used were with all of these. Fortunately, I threw it away. I thought I wouldn't need it again. Here's again some f-stops going up and up. Now this is something that's kind of bothered me about this camera, which is that when the f-stops are low, when the aperture is really wide, there's a real problem with fuzziness. And it might just be that it's because I'm overexposing and it's in the daytime and I shouldn't be shooting at that low an f-stop anyway. But and maybe it works better in low light, and future testing will prove that. But look at this. Only when you get about halfway there, it starts to get really clear. And I don't know if it's a problem with this camera or if it's just how the lens works. I mean, look, I'm going to swipe this back. So it's definitely not that the camera was out of focus. Because look, at higher f-stops, like whatever this is, 11, 16 or something, it's looking fine. But then open it up and whoa, you see, that's just fuzzy. And where's my depth of field? There's nowhere which is in focus. I'm a bit concerned about this. It might just be, like I said, that overexposure comes out as a fuzziness. Is there a blur that's caused by overexposure? I don't know. Very strange. But I mean, you know, when it's firing on all cylinders, this is a damn good lens, as we can see. So what are we going to do about the auto exposure not working? How are we going to know what exposure to use? Well, although this camera does has a broken auto exposure, I happen to have something that was given to me by my friend Josef in Austria. Thank you, Josef. Oh, something here. A nice box with Minolta on it. Is it another camera? No. It's a very, very nice Minolta auto light meter. Motorized. Super nice. Let's see. Does it have the same power thing as the other one? No, it doesn't. It takes a 9-volt and a single AA, which is bizarre. I think the 9-volt might be for the motor and the AA for the battery. Just weird. I've never seen any item that had a 9-volt and an AA. Oh, that's nice. Look at that on the top of there. They've got an ASA to DIN conversion chart. Of course, no one uses DIN these days. Oh, everyone's like, oh, you're all liking it, aren't you? Yes, fancy, sweet, whoa. So basically, you look in there, forehead rest. Minolta were very particular about their forehead rests. This one's built in. You look in there, you point it at something, and you push this button, and then, oh, you can even see down there. You push the button, and it gives you your exposure. How does it do that? Let's look inside this thing. Well, I'll show you straight away what it looks like when you look through that. Oh, no, that's the police. Right. It looks like this when you look through the eyepiece. And it's got 2 dials. One of them moves, one of them does not move. So this one, well, we'll see them moving in a second. But all these numbers, what does this mean? Is it complicated? Are you going to have a problem? No, you're not, because it's actually quite a simple system. So, firstly, we're going to set our ASA down here. Of course, you got to tell the thing what the ISO is. Oh, I didn't do that. Here we go. So let's set it to, let's say we got 500T going on. So you turn this knob. Oh, I didn't show you what the knob was. I have to show you the knob. Right. So that's this knob here. That's where you turn this, and then this moves. This moves. Now notice that this whole dial is moving, not just the numbers here. But that's how it works. So the idea is you point this at various things. Now the picture's going to look a bit crap because the phone I was using to film through the eyepiece didn't quite pick up. You can either get the dial or you can get the image. And of course I went for the dial because right now that's the most important thing. So it turns around. See, it does that all automatically. As you pointed at different things, you point at light, dark. So what's your f-stop? What is going on exactly here? Well, firstly, you need your exposure time. What fraction of a second you're going to be shooting? Is it 1/40th, 1/20th, whatever? On this particular camera, well, on this particular camera, on this particular, I'm going to edit that bit out. On this particular camera, the shutter angle is 165 degrees. And how do you work out your exposure time from that information? Well, you go to this website I'm going to show you here. Not that one. Where is it? Here we go. It's my favorite shutter angle thing. Super 8 Arena. Let's get rid of these values here so we can do it all. I've shown you this all before. I've been here loads of times. Super 8 Arena. It's super8arena.com, unfortunately, can only be accessed through archive.org because it seems to have gone down. So anyway, shutter angle, 165. Let's dial that in. Frames per second. Well, let's go for the classic, 18. And shutter speed, press the button, and that gives us 39.27. Let's call it 1/40th. Okay. So, how does that relate? How does that figure? So 1/40th, that's these top numbers here. That's 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th. Uh-oh, there's no 1/40th. But I believe this dot here is 1/40th right there. So that dot is the point you have to measure your f-stop against. And as you point this thing at various different, let's go forward a bit. So as you point it at various different bright or dark things, it moves. Oh, so that's the view. That's the view through it when you can see it. So that's just a nice zoom in there. So you can actually see quite well on this thing. And you basically put that center circle in the thing you're going to do. So let's say we want to go put it somewhere dark. Let's go. Okay, so dark. Here we go. Oh, what's it done? What's that reading there? No, not dark. I don't know. Let's see. See, it's moving around. You know what? Never mind the dark. We'll get to the dark in a minute. Supposing you've pointed at something and it has. There we go. Suppose it's stopped there. So we look at 1/40th, which is there, 1/40th of a second at 500 ASA, and that's equivalent to halfway between F8 and F11. Easy. So I don't know. Put it on F. There is nothing between 8 and 11. It's 8.5. So go figure. You know, put it. I would say get it always slightly more open, especially if you're using the daylight filter. Let's put it somewhere really light. That's right up in the air, right up in the window. So you're between almost up to 16 there, F16. And in a second, I'm going to put this somewhere very dark. I'm going to put it where the sun don't shine. Fnar. Okay, why do I have the radio on? It's so annoying. Well, I should really know better than to have stuff playing. Okay, somewhere dark. Sun don't shine over here. Let's freeze frame that. What do we can hardly see? But the there we go, 40th of a second, 1/40th. Whoa, see, we're right here between 2.8 and 4. So it's really quite easy. You just look through the eyepiece, press the button. When it stops going back and forth, you line up your shutter speed with whatever is on the outer dial here, and boom, you've got your f-stop. Easy peasy. Bosh. Old radio, so that's amazing. So very creepy. Now here's an interesting thing. Let's go back a little bit, and then we're done with this thing. It's got this inner dial here saying Cine. Now that's useful. 128, 64, 40, 24, 16. These are frames per second. So according to this light meter, you don't actually have to work out what your exposure time is. You just have to look at how many frames a second you're shooting. However, different Minoltas have got different shutter angles. So this is all set to one particular shutter angle, which I think is like 220. So this Cine bit is probably calibrated for the later sound cameras. So yeah, so watch out for that. I would ignore that completely. Just find out what your shutter speed is and use the reading here. Ignore the Cine. There we go. So that is the wonderful Minolta Auto Spot 1 light meter. It's the fanciest light meter I have. It's so fancy that I don't dare take it out in public because it's just another thing to. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You got to have this shooting and this at the same time, and then okay, light meter, yeah, that shows. Okay, now you got to adjust this. You got to put this thing down. You got to adjust your f-stop, and then you got to film. Oh, you've pointed it somewhere else. Well, got to get the Minolta, get the light meter back, etc., etc. However, together they are a nice pair of machines. Right. What's next? Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to refer to my notes here. Shutter. We've done the lap dissolve. Done the macro focus metering. Blah, 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 blah. Done the flash sync. Done the auto spot light meter. Right. We're on to the interesting part here. Accessories. Yes, accessories. One of the best things about this camera, and in fact, this is something that Minolta have elevated to an art form, is the unbelievable range of accessories that come with this thing. Basically, they've taken features which don't really appear on Super 8 cameras, and they've outsourced them to all these different things here, these accessories here. So I'm going to just quote Miles Spreetsma, who wrote in the latest edition of Super 8. He wrote a very nice article. Where's my bookmark taking me to? He wrote very nice articles about his favorite Super 8 cameras. Get the latest edition. It's very nice. He wrote, where the camera really excels is in its accessories. Minolta made a whole range of accessories for the AutoPack 8D camera range, including an adjustable forehead rest. We've done that. Which really does help to stabilize handheld shots. Fair enough. 2 intervalometers. The more common intervalometer P is the basic model, but the rare intervalometer S allows for timed exposures. We'll be getting onto that in a minute. A wireless remote system and the high-speed power pack, which also acts as an additional power source. Let's see what Miles was talking about there. What we've got here, I have prepared a... there we go. I went online and I had a look at some of these accessories and ooh, they're nice. Firstly, and here's an interesting thing. Look, the accessory can actually... Oh, let's get my hand back on there. The accessories can, like I think old radios or one of you guys said that the accessories are actually can be mounted right there on top of the cameras. Old radio says I have the P. The P, which he's referring to, is this. This is the... Oh, that might be the... Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, that's not it either. Whoa, that's me. So the Minolta... Let's get this away. Here is the P, the intervalometer P. Which one is it? So these are all different accessories available for it. How much do they go for? That's the high-speed power pack, remote control cord. Where is the P? Ah, oh, that's... I'll get onto that. Maybe this is it. Yeah, this is it. There, look at that. So this is... these are the different interval seconds you can do. You can take a frame every 0.5 seconds, every 1 second, 2, 4, 8, 15, 30, 60 seconds. So that's great. Some cameras have got them built in. This has got it as a separate unit. So where does this plug into? Well, this is amazing. This is really quite a cool system. Usually with these cameras, you know, there's a button like this at the back or something on the side that you plug your control kind of interface onto. On the Nikon, it was like a plug on the bottom here. On the Minolta, it's actually the trigger thing here. The trigger comes out like this. Ta-da! So that's your trigger system. You can take the whole thing out and you plug a cord into here. And that plugs into various accessories. Let's have a look. So here's the cord. Here's the cord that's the remote trigger. So that cord will plug into there, and you can trigger it remotely using that. Just press this button. It has, I don't have a photo of it. I was looking for a photo. I couldn't find one. A wireless control system. Yes, wireless. So you can actually remotely control it through infrared. You plug a receiver into there, you've got a transmitter. You can, like if you've got it in somewhere dangerous or somewhere out of reach, you can just click and have it do that. Now, what else have we got for in terms of accessories? Well, there's the remote cord, so you can do it corded. There's the intervalometer. Now here's the really interesting one, the intervalometer S. These are not to put too fine a point on it. These are rocking horse shit. These things. This is, it's not just it's a whole box. You've got to plug this thing in. Oops. There we go. Now, if you ever get one of these, yeah, a few people, Julie's got the P, high-speed power pack, remote control. Oh, Julie's got some good accessories. This is the intervalometer S, difficult to find. Bolex made something like this. I believe Nizo made something similar to this, but for the Pro. And you can not only do interval timing on this, but you can set it to time a specific to film a specific number of seconds every so often. So you could say film 2 seconds every minute. Just run for 2 seconds every minute. Maybe like a security camera kind of thing. Maybe. Also, it can lock the shutter open, so you can do long exposures. And I cannot emphasize enough what a cool feature that is. A bit like the Nizo Automatic B, but this has long exposures, which means that you could put even Kodachrome 2 or some film that needs a buttload of light, and point it at the stars and just say, just open up and don't close until I tell you to stop, which is basically the B setting. You need one of these, though. I didn't even find one on eBay that had been sold. This is on whatever it is, Worth Point, which should be called Worth Less Point, that website. So yeah, if you ever see one of these, this is the business, this thing. Let's see how much a Minolta was going to cost you these days. Look at this, on sale in the UK right now, £240, but my God, it says it's untested. I mean, look at the extent of the accessories on this thing. Let's get that bigger. And it's a buy it now as well. Look at all that stuff. You've got the camera, you've got the power pack, you've got the intervalometer, although that might be the power pack. You got this, you got a battery thing here. There's your remote with the cord. That's another cord. I don't know what that is. There's no infrared wireless remote, and of course there's no S. But that is a nice bit of kit there. Old Radio says mine cost $204. The thing is, this is being sold as untested. The person selling this, they seem like a very honest dealer, but if you buy this, they say they can't be messing around putting batteries in it and all that. Yeah, you might be spending you might have a £240 brick on your hands. Yeah. Old Radio says, without the power packs, yes, I played Russian roulette and won. Good for you. Just buy another 5 cameras, and yeah, one of them will be buggered, won't it? So 240. What else can we get? Oh, that's all the other power packs. Yeah, there's not really one on sale. I could look at sold items and see what. Should we have a look at sold items? Why not? Oh, bloody hell, where am I? Where can I? Here we go. So no, that's not it. Buy air condition, location, sort, best match. Where is the? That's strange. Oh, here, it's down here, of course. Show only sold items. There we go. And completed items. Was a Minolta D12 sold? No exact mounches. Oh, God. Okay, so they don't come up very often, it looks like. Shall I write just Super 8 camera? See what comes up if I just say Minolta Super 8. Yeah, it's a bunch of garbage mostly. Not garbage, but the kind of the lower level ones. You know, that might work. Minolta XL601. These are others in the... there's a D8 for £51. That can't be working. Oh, autopack. Oh, it's a D6. Okay, so yeah, it's one of the not quite as fancy ones. What else we've got? XL. They're apparently, according to Miles Spreetsma, they made some decent XL and sound cameras as well. These are all working. Yeah, they command a decent price. I think Minolta, a bit like Leica, I think they've got some fanboys, and you know, they get a decent. They sell. Oh, that one sold for only £13.68 from the US. Wonder how much that would be. $20. Well, that's a good deal. Yeah, so a lot of the lower ones in the range come up, and so far, oh look, hey, I've got one of those. The little Halina. Someone's selling a Halina and a Minolta. Nah, little brother there. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, keep an eye out, I guess, if you want to get one. I was tempted. I'm not going to buy. I've got enough Super 8 cameras. I know that I'd probably have a bit of fun with this and then cast it aside. I would definitely like to play with this thing. That's some serious kit there. The Mind of Minolta. Was that their slogan? Old Radios. The Mind of Minolta. Was that their slogan? Might be. Same company that made Spy still camera, says Linda B. I think they might have, but you might be thinking of the Minox sub miniature. In fact, there's a Minox user who frequents this show. Maybe they know. Who knows? Minolta also made this tiny one though, which is nice. This is a bit like the Agfa Microflex, which I did a film about before. And I think that's about all I can say about them. Oops, about the Minolta D12. I don't know. Anyone in the comments think of it? Is there anything I forgot about while I put this thing back in? It's a lovely camera, and it is definitely on the same level as the Nikon R10. And here we go. We're going to try and I'm just trying to work out which is better, which is really hard. You know, which is better, the Minolta or the Nikon. And bearing in mind, I'd be comparing two cameras which are absolutely in top-notch condition. So if the Nikon was working perfectly and the Minolta was working perfectly, it's a very, very difficult choice which one would be I would prefer. I would say as a camera system, the Minolta is better because it's got all those accessories. The Nikon doesn't have an intervalometer. It might have one as an accessory. I'm not sure. The Nikon has a slightly better lens because it did better in low light, did better at wide aperture. However, I haven't tried this one in low light with wide aperture. I've just tried it in bright light with wide aperture, and it ended up fuzzy, which I wasn't happy with at all. That might have been my fault. I don't know. Old and various. I'll get the Nikon 2 someday. Yeah, I mean it's there. I would say if I was offered a fully working Nikon or a fully working Minolta D12, I would have to hold my nose and bite my tongue, but I think I'd go with the Nikon just for that amazing Nikon lens. Very difficult choice. If I was given the Minolta, if I was offered the Nikon or the Minolta with all the accessories, I'd probably go with the Minolta. So I don't know if I've fudged that, and I'm sure, you know, some of the Minolta fans would disagree with me, but there's very little in it. I mean, they're so equal in quality and features that you'd really be splitting hairs, you know, like saying, well, the Nikon's got a proper shoe, not a proprietary one like Minolta. You know, you'd have to get really fussy. Oh, I didn't talk about these two knobs here. Well, it's the usual. That one is to unlock the eyepiece for focusing, and that one is to open and close the eyepiece if you haven't got your eye up to it. So I think that's about all I can talk about with the Minolta D12. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minolta D12. I only said that because when I edit this, I need something to end the show on, end the edited part of the show on. Lovely camera, heavy, but my God, what a tank! And I wish the auto worked on here, but to be honest, I'm so used to manually metering everything that I would just get on with it, really. Let's have a look at the comments again, just to see if I missed anything extremely relevant. Lyndon B said, nice image, reminds me of the colour in those Open University lectures on TV, which were rerun right up to the 90s on TV. You're talking about the kind of the grainy film that they used? Maybe. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of... oh, Cecil DeVille says, I have an XL250. Well, I wish you well to use it, as they say. So finally tonight, because of all that nonsense with the police last night and me being kind of half speed today, I didn't set up a film to show on the projector because I don't know if we can all stand yet another Norway 1967 reel. However, on the 13th, I'm doing a job and I am coming home with a whole box of old Super 8 reels from that job, which is going to be very exciting. That's going to keep me in post-show entertainment for many shows to come. So tonight, what I'm going to show you is something that just happened recently. Well, it didn't happen recently. What happened recently is that Clive from My Eyes, which is a show, a screening club that we do here in London, has offered me a one-man show, which I've never done before, and I'm getting all my life's work together into a package, and I'm going to show you something I did, which I'm going to hopefully do as part of this solo show, which is there we go. It's a live adaptation of the film Slides that I made. I made a show recently about slides, about just slides, as in the little transparency slides, and I did live mixing, live video and analog and slide staining and messing around with the slides on this thing while reciting the voiceover to the show, to about slides. And in fact, I've got some footage here. Some footage of the show going on. This was last October, the great venue called Eclectic, which unfortunately is now no more. But here you can see there's a live slide, and that's a video, or it's the other way around. Yeah, that's a live slide. And there I am brushing some bleach on it to change the color. And so yeah, it's an inordinate amount of work to bring this thing and set it all up. But it turned into a really nice event there. And I shall be doing it again at my one-man show. I hate saying one-man show. It just sounds like the mark of of someone who thinks that their stuff is super important. So yeah, I'll be doing it at the show. I'll be recreating that live film again with the live slide footage in London on the 13th of November. So yeah, if you're in London, come along, meet me, watch my nonsense. There. See, I'm melting on there. That was a cool bit there. And as I do all this stuff, hey, watch that again. There, whoa, hey. So I'll put the sound up. Audience loved that. Oh, where was it that where's the bit that I burned it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So yeah. They love it. They love it. Anyway. Yes, I do live stuff as well. In fact, I shall be presenting Exploding Cinema on the 28th of September. Very exciting. That's also here in London. We're going to be showing short films, some of them, maybe one or two on Super 8. Short films of all types, independently made and shown at a place called the Cinema Museum in London. If you're able to get down to London, come to that show. It's going to be great. The Cinema Museum is fantastic. And that, unfortunately, brings us to the end of the show today. Yes, it was. Whoa! Thanks everyone for joining me. Thanks for all listening to me witter on about this camera. It's the only time I can really talk non-stop for an hour. Let's see some comments here. Julie says, right, no macro, but there's an accessory for the D10 close-up lens. I have that. Do you? Ooh, oh well, some convo going on about the D10. So this side screen. So I watched a movie in a cinema when they used film, and we saw a Charlie Brown movie, and it stopped on a frame, and Chuck's face melted. My childhood was ruined. you know what? They should have that happen towards the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know the scene I'm talking about. That would be pretty cool if the film melted at that moment. Yeah, maybe that's something you should do. So Cecil says, see you on the next go around. So yes, so next week, as I said, something different. I'm bored of talking about Super 8 cameras. I'm going to take a week off that, and I'm going to talk about something else I did, something very technologically advanced, I think, which utilized an old video game, a DSLR camera, and some colored gels and some interesting settings on the DSLR camera. Oh, and an old cinema in Kilburn, which I projected on top of. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully see you next week on the 12th. Julie says, great show, lots of fun and good info. Thanks for joining us, and thanks everyone. And yes, I will see you next week. And now I'm going to have my hot toddy, and tonight I hope to sleep without the police banging down, pulling people out of their car across the road, and making a whole racket, waking up us honest people. All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you next week. I've said that 4 times already. Bye. Now, have we stopped or not? Sometimes it goes on.